expect that these tariffs will result in over $100 billion of new annual revenue to the United States of America in tariff revenue.
I think ultimately we could probably anywhere from $600 billion to $1 trillion will be taken in over the relatively short-term period, meaning a year from now.
As US announced 25% import tariffs on auto and components, the impact could be threefold. First, and the immediate impact could be seen on the auto component manufacturers, especially those having more exposure to US. As we can see in the afternoon itself, around 5% reduction in the auto stocks. The car component manufacturers could also see the increased competition from within the US, as the tariffs negates the cost advantages that India used to have of around 6 to 7%, especially when it comes to the players like Soma, Comstar, Motherson, and similar players who are supplying and relying mostly for the exports to US. However, it gives an opportunity for the Indian manufacturers, as US has most of the exposure to Europe and Japan. The Indian component manufacturers should focus more on advanced components like precision engineered systems, maybe batteries and sensors. Moreover, as the talks between USA and India are right now ongoing, one should wait and watch and see what happens in the next few days.
I think ultimately we could probably anywhere from $600 billion to $1 trillion will be taken in over the relatively short-term period, meaning a year from now.
How do you assure that the car coming into the country is fully built? Could an automaker in Germany say, leave the tires off a car?
We're going to have very strong policing, and it's pretty easy to do. If parts are made in America and a car isn't, those parts are not going to be taxed or tariffed. And we'll have very strong policing as far as that's concerned. For the most part, I think it's going to lead cars to be made in one location. You know, right now, a car would be made here, sent to Canada, sent to Mexico, sent all over the place. It's ridiculous. People that think in terms of deductions are very wealthy people, but people are going to start understanding what a good deduction is all about. So we're trying to get approved, if we can. If you borrow money to buy a car, you're allowed to deduct interest payments for purposes of income tax, but only if the car is made in America. So if the car is made in America, you get a loan, you can deduct the interest. That's a big saving. A lot of people in that part of the world, in terms of buying cars, a lot of them don't think in terms of deductions. People that think in terms of deductions are very wealthy people, but people are going to start understanding what a good deduction is all about. So when you get a loan to buy a car, and I think it's going to pay for itself. I don't think there's any cost. I think you're going to have so many cars built. But you're only going to get that deduction of interest if the car is made in the United States of America. So I'm going to sign this. And Mike, I hope you can get that, because I think it's going to be amazing in terms of the number of cars that are going to be made because of it. So this is the beginning of Liberation Day in America. But this is very exciting to me. This is the automobile industry, and this will continue to spur growth like you haven't seen. Before I was elected, we were losing all of our plants. They were being built in Mexico and Canada and other places. Now those plants largely have stopped, and they're moving them to our country.
Reciprocal tariffs next week. Will those be immediately effective April 2nd on all countries, or will you focus on the worst offenders?
No, we're going to make it all countries, and we're going to make it very lenient. I think people are going to be very surprised. It'll be, in many cases, less than the tariff that they've been charging us for decades. So I think people are going to be very, very surprised.
Why is that?
I think they'll be pleasantly surprised. I don't know. I think we're trying to keep it somewhat conservative.